Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining the BOXABL webinar. Just going to take a little time here to let more people enter the room. Hopefully, you guys can hear me all right. Sounds like you can. We actually had a really crazy turnout for this event. Didn't expect it. So we now have over 1,000 people who have signed up to watch it. Pretty cool. I will mention that there is a link to the offering circular that if you're interested in investing, the investment offering is closing on Start Engine in just a couple days, but make sure you read the offering circular before proceeding with any investment. So I'm going to show you guys a quick video, just me kind of walking through the factory and talking about what's been going on, and then we'll open it up for questions. I expect most of the event to be questions. So just, you can go ahead and type in your questions while we're playing the video, and then I'll jump in at the end and start answering them. But overall, lots of exciting stuff going on at BOXABL, and happy to give you guys an update. I think probably going to do another one of these next week just because we got so much interest in it. So that was really great. Questions are rolling in already. All right. I'm going to play this video and then we'll jump into questions.
Hey everyone, this is Galiano. Thanks for tuning into the BOXABL webinar. Make sure to read the disclaimer link before making any investment decisions. Here we are at BOXABL in Las Vegas. I'm going to give you guys an overview of what's going on at the company, and then at the end there will be a live question and answer. So stay tuned, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. So back in 2017, we came up with the idea to do BOXABL to make housing affordable. And things have moved really quickly since then. We've been able to get over 700 houses built, set up these factory buildings, and now we're rolling out a bunch of exciting new products. You are able to go online right now and buy a casita. We have a dealer network where over 100 contractors around the country in many different states have signed up to become BOXABL dealers. And one cool thing that's happened is we've now rolled out a new model for backyard ADUs. So we have the casita, which is our first product that you might be familiar with. It's kind of a little studio apartment, 360 square feet, kitchen, bedroom, bath. And now what we've done is we've added another box on there that's 2-bedroom. So that model is going to be rolling out in California. If you're in California, head over to our website, fill out an order form, or reach out to a dealer, and you can learn more about getting one of those. We have lots of projects going on around the country. We have lots of houses in permitting. We have dealers doing order quotations all the time, and we're really excited with the trajectory of how sales are going. Got started in 2017 with the idea for the company. A few years later, did some prototypes, started getting some traction, and then at a certain point, we got an order from the United States military. At that point, we didn't have really much of anything. We had a few prototypes in a garage. We took the order, which was for 156 houses, and we ran full speed to get things up and running. We grabbed the warehouse building, we ordered equipment, we hired staff, and we managed to get all 156 of those houses built and delivered. Since then, we've continued to scale up, implement all the various things we need to be rocking and rolling. Now, we're actually announcing what I'm calling phase 2 of the company. When we got started, we needed to get our foot in the door, and that was all about casita, getting manufacturing up and running, getting sales online, getting through regulatory issues, and people love the casita. They're really excited about it. But BOXABL is not a tiny house company. We are not an ADU company, or we don't want to be. The plan here is to have a solution for residential building construction where BOXABL can build faster and cheaper than the traditional way of doing things. Of course, there's a big problem with housing affordability all around the country and all around the world, and there's a big housing shortage. I think over 4 million units short is the number. Our solution to that is mass-produce houses in a factory. If you look at all the other modern products in the world, like an automobile, a sneaker, an iPhone, they're all done in an assembly line where they get tremendous efficiency, reduced costs, and they're able to put out enough product. We think by fixing the problems that have stopped houses from being mass-produced in a factory, that we can bring down cost and become kind of the low-cost producer. When I look at the situation, the best example of mass production is automobile manufacturing. A Tesla or a Ford factory puts out 1 car per minute. So why is no one doing that with housing? That's really the goal here, so we're off to a great start. Phase 2 is all the rest of the buildings. So single family, apartment buildings, townhouses, all that stuff. And that represents a much bigger market. So what we've done now is we've built a few initial prototype units, and we're showing those off to developers and builders and hoping to sign a big contract for a community. We had the IBS Builder Show last week, and we had so many people come by and tour this. And when they look at their traditional way of building versus the BOXABL way of building, the traditional way is very slow. There's a lot of unknowns. So they might go into a project thinking their cost is one thing, and then quotes change, contractors have issues, and they don't really know what their cost is going to be. Also, it takes a lot of time. What we can do here is we can fix the costs for the developer, and we can get all that work done here in the factory while they're developing the site. So if you start with raw land and you need to build roadways and foundations and all that, while they're working on that, we can be here in the factory producing the products. This new phase 2 products doesn't just represent different types of houses, it also represents a new way of building. So we've taken everything we've learned over the past few years, all the different issues, and that's resulted in this new building technology that we're working on here. We think we're going to be able to expect lower cost to build, better structural ratings, more customizability. So with a casita, it's a very standardized fixed product, but for the phase 2 stuff, we can actually customize it quite a lot based on what the builder needs. Follow me, we'll take a quick look inside. This is just, an example of a configuration we've made. We have a whole bunch of different layouts and configurations that we're starting with. So we'll show the developer, hey, here's kind of some of our standard models. What do you need? And we'll customize it a little bit for them. But it's really, beautiful layout. Product looks amazing, and we were able to whip this up here really quickly. When we were engineering this and designing it and doing the architectural layout, we worked with developers around the country to say, what do you need? What's the most common product that you're selling? As you can see, this is, two-story model, so we can stack and connect boxes to create different layouts. This one here is actually an example of just kind of a single box unit. So it's about 800 square feet. It's got 10-foot high ceilings. It's got a really nice vibe to it. And it's basically a 2-bedroom with the living area here. So you can see we've got the bedroom over here, and then we've got this really big closet in here. On another note, we are doing our ongoing crowdfunding to raise money to fuel the company. What we're doing here is a really big vision. It's a really big product. It's a really big manufacturing facility. It's a big operation, but it's small in comparison to what we need to solve this problem. And that's all about scale. So we need to continue raising funds to continue fueling this thing so that we can push up the production output, we can get to mass production, and we can bring the cost down. So if you want to join the journey, head over to our website, check out the invest page, and you can learn more about becoming an investor. And make sure you read the offering circular disclaimer link before making any investment decisions. I'm going to show you another product we have over here that we're really excited about. We're calling this the Baby Box. This is actually our attempt to create an even more affordable housing solution than we have already. So this is a house we're planning to retail for $20,000. This is one of the first prototypes we made, and we have an order form on the website where people can get on the wait list for this. Cool thing about this product is technically it's actually an RV. So it is built under a different code. It doesn't have to go through building departments. It doesn't go to residential building code, and it's very easy to set up. So you actually don't need a foundation. You don't need an electrician to connect it. We feel like this is a product where the customer can order it, and then the next day we can ship it out, and then as soon as it arrives on their site, they can actually set it up by themselves. They don't need any special equipment, any crane. They can plug it in with an extension cord, and they can have a place to live really quickly. So kind of minimum viable living situation. Really cool product that we're really excited about, and we think that people are going to absolutely love, and we think we're going to sell a lot of them. It's about a little bit under 120 square feet. Usually it's decorated a little bit. There's some other nicer videos of it with all the furnishings, but we just moved it out here to this different spot in the factory. So you can see we've got nice kitchen area. I'm 6'4", and I've got plenty of space. This right here pulls out into a bed. And then we've got the bathroom and shower area. So now I think we'll go take a quick look at some of the casita models, and then I'm going to head down the street to a project we have. It's actually a little RV park that happens to be really close to the factory where we've deployed some units, and you can see kind of what it looks like mid-setup as these projects are getting deployed. So I just wanted to take a quick stop at these casita models that we have in front of our factory so you guys can have a look if you haven't seen them yet. We do tours at the factory here in Las Vegas. It's a great place to visit, and we have people coming by almost every single day. So you can go on the website, schedule a tour. We'd love to have you out here and show you what we're working on. Also, if you're interested in following the journey, please go to YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, all that, and follow us, because we're just posting constant updates on there, and you can get a lot of your questions answered by kind of browsing through our stuff, or email us anytime, hello@boxable.com. As you can see, all of these casitas kind of have a different vibe to them, but they're all just standard casitas. What we manufacture and sell is the standard casita. We sell that to the customer or to the contractor, and then they go ahead and install it as a base model, or they can customize it. They can add a deck, they can add a different roof pitch, they can add a different cladding option like this. And then of course they can decorate it differently inside. You can see it's a beautiful living space. We've got bed area, couch area, kitchen, and bathroom. We've got the combo washer and dryer. We did just sign a contract to sell 60 units to kind of a glamping company. So they've got different projects in different states, and they're going to be deploying those units. I think that's really a great use case for a product like this. Of course, we've also got military projects we've done, workforce housing projects we've done, backyard ADUs. If you look at what's going on in California and other places, they're making it easier to go ahead and put a unit in your backyard. So kind of a granny cottage, they call it sometimes. Those different laws to add more density and add backyard units are kind of spreading around the country. So there's lots of different action on that, including, for example, Arizona passed what I believe they're calling the casita law. And that's kind of enabling this. So we expect that market to continue to grow, and we expect our efforts to kind of snowball. The interesting thing about a housing product like this is it's not like, oh, I made this and someone ordered it and then I can put it in a FedEx envelope and ship it next day. When they order it, we got to go through kind of a long process where we get building permits, we prepare foundation, we get financing. So, the projects do take time. And I think, maybe a project that came in 6 months ago will come to fruition today, and we'll actually be able to ship the unit. You can see the different claddings that we have here. That's not an option that BOXABL does. That's what the contractor would do on site. Our product is just to make things easier for the contractor, faster. Hopefully a builder who traditionally does, regular site construction can look at this product and say, all right, instead of getting one project done a year, I can get 2 projects done a year, and we think that's very attractive to them. This is just kind of the base model casita without the cladding on it. So everything in here is just pretty, standard. This is how it would come. This is how all the casitas would arrive. And we've got the queen bed in here. We've got the couch. Really nice space. So now we're just going to head down the street and check out this project, and then after that, I'll open it up for questions. So here we are, just like 10 minutes away from the BOXABL factory. This is a really cool project that we were lucky to get, so close to home. And basically this is, or was, kind of an RV park. They've got some mobile homes in the back, and they cleared out all the RVs and they replaced them with these beautiful BOXABL casitas. The project's not finished just yet, but we're almost there. I think they're going to be building like some decks around them here. You'll notice underneath of these, they've got the trailer systems on them. And the reason for that is it's regulation. So by keeping the trailer system on them, these are actually technically not residential buildings. They're technically RVs. So then they were allowed to be in this park with this use case. And the way the RVs are regulated, there's no kind of state programs, so it doesn't slow us down. So a lot of the projects we're looking at now are RV projects like this. And another cool thing about it is when you do a regular residential construction with like bare land or even a backyard ADU, you got to come in, build roads, build foundation, trench in utilities and all that. But in these RV parks or mobile home parks that are all around the country, it's already good. They're ready to go. They have pads, they have electricity. So we can literally, within a week, drop down a house, set it up, and be online. But we'll just take a quick walk through. I feel like the paint job is very cheerful here. Yeah, you can see these are like the little pedestals where kind of the RVs would connect, and they're going to build kind of decks around all these and create a really nice little community for people. This is, you know, incredibly affordable way to live with these RV parks and the way we're able to deploy these. So hopefully this can be some of the most affordable housing in Vegas. We're going to jump over now to questions and answers. Make sure to type your questions into the comment box on the side there on Livestorm, and I'll try to get through all of them. We're working hard, really hard every day to make housing affordable. This is a very difficult task, but with a very big upside if we get it right. Of course, housing is a trillion-dollar industry around the world. It's one of the biggest kind of product categories out there, and there's a huge need for someone to fix it. And a lot of people are working on a solution, and hopefully we can be the ones to figure it out. Thank you.
All right, cool. Thanks for watching that, guys. I'll jump into questions now, so keep them coming. I do want to say that, you know, when it comes to, you know, kind of live question and answers, I have to be very careful with what I say because we are a Exchange Act reporting company, which means that we're regulated by the SEC. So there's a whole bunch of rules on how information has to be disclosed. For example, I can't give out information that's, you know, not public. So whenever we announce something new, we first have to do it through a press release or through an SEC filing. So I kind of sometimes have to default back to the older information in the last filing, but I'll try to answer everything that I can. So first question here is, when will we go public? So obviously, you know, we've stated that, you know, the plan for the company is to go public, but we can't, you know, guarantee anything is going to happen. We were able to reserve that NASDAQ ticker, which is pretty cool, but that's not, you know, a claim that we're going to go public or we meet any of the requirements or anything like that. So we'll just stay tuned and see what happens on that one. The next question we have here is about the sales and where we've sold houses. So again, I can't, you know, give you the latest sales numbers as of today until we post that publicly. But if you look at our last filings, we had about over 100 units under contract. And then we have also announced another 60 units under contract through this Horizons deal. Basically, they're like a glamping company. So they have kind of resorts, I believe, in one is in California and one is in Carolina. So that's going to be a cool project and a cool use case that we haven't really done yet. You know, we've done backyard ADUs, we've done military housing, we've done workforce housing, we've done little small villages, but haven't done any kind of glamping or resort communities just yet. As far as where we've sold so far, I got a list here. We've deployed units in Utah, Nevada, Hawaii, New Mexico, Oklahoma, Arizona, California, Cuba, Virginia, and maybe a couple more. Someone's asking about how it works with land. So BOXABL is the manufacturer of the room module. We're manufacturing a product that we sell to builders and developers. So usually a builder or developer would go out to site, you know, and they would kind of build things by hand using hammer and nails out on site. So what we're saying is, let us do all of that work. Let us do it in the factory where we have better quality control, where our cost potentially can be lower, where the builder knows that their costs on the building are all fixed. So, you know, with a traditional job site, they might get a quote from a framing guy, a sheetrock guy, a painter, and things can happen, and those prices can change, and there can be weather delays and all kind of things like that. So the idea with BOXABL is that we would get that all done in the factory, where all that stuff is, you know, fixed, and, you know, the timeline is shorter, so that maybe while they're developing the ground, so, you know, they have raw land, they're building roads and foundations and utilities. At the same time, we can be building the houses, and hopefully it can shortcut the whole process for them. So, you know, from a end customer perspective, if you have, you know, land that you want to build on, or you want to build in your backyard with like an ADU, either you would go ahead and do all that work yourself to figure it out how to do it, to get it all prepared and buy the unit from BOXABL, or you would go through, any contractor, maybe someone or you can use our dealer network. We do have a directory on our website where dealers can sign up and offer their services to customers. So in most cases, a buyer of an ADU or of a casita is going to go to our website. They're going to submit their information into the order page, and then their contact info is going to be given to our dealers, and their dealers are going to reach out to them. On the flip side, the customers can also just go straight to the dealers and call them and ask questions. So I believe we have almost 100 dealers signed up now, and that network's growing really, really nicely. And that can kind of bridge the gap between the end of our factory and, people actually getting the keys and moving in. So, we're providing this product that should hopefully make the process simpler for people that want to build. Someone else is asking what's going on with new products. So we have announced a bunch of stuff lately, and you can go over to YouTube and check out the latest on that. I recommend watching those videos. So there's two main things that are happening. One is the baby box, and that's this even smaller house that we're planning to retail for $20,000. That is technically actually built to the RV code. So we've kind of looked and seen what all the friction points are with building, what makes things more difficult, what makes them cost more. And we came out with this product because we think it's really going to be one of the most affordable housing solutions for people. I don't think it gets much cheaper for a place to live than $20,000. And then also the setup on it is easy. You don't need a crane to unfold it. You can lift it by hand. It has kind of pistons that allow the house to unfold and set up. It actually plugs in with an extension cord, so you don't need an electrician to wire it. You can just plug it in. So with that, and with our phase 2 products, everything we've learned over the past few years, all the different issues surrounding building construction and housing and regulations and the way we manufacture, we've taken all that knowledge and information and dumped it into these new products. So we're basically, pivoting and figuring out what makes sense to give the company, products that are in high demand that we can gear up production on. The other big announcement was what we're calling phase 2. Phase 2 is our plan to move into other building types. So of course, the casita is, just this one little fixed product studio house that, the idea there was to use it for backyard ADUs. And then we got other interest as well, like I said before, workforce housing, military base housing, all that kind of stuff. And the phase 2 is basically different types of houses. So single family apartment buildings, all that kind of stuff. We can build most things. So what we did was we went out to, some of the bigger builders and said, what are your most popular products? And how can we kind of recreate those products using our system and our technology? And of course, when we look at, what is the market, single family apartment buildings, there's lots more of those going up than backyard ADUs. So we think there's a bigger kind of total attainable market there. We've built a few initial units that you can actually come and tour in Las Vegas, and then basically have a form on our website where developers, companies that do big housing projects can come to us and submit their interest. And then we can meet with them and say, what kind of project are you looking to do? Can we work with you on that? Does it make sense? And, lots of different advantages to these new products and the way we're manufacturing them and the materials we're using for them. So we're really excited about that. We believe it's going to lead to lower cost, to better structural ratings, to a product that solved a whole bunch of the different kind of friction points that we've bumped into, including on the regulatory side. So the materials we're using to build these new buildings, we think are going to be easier to understand from regulators who do the approvals, and that should speed up kind of our timeline on things. Because one thing with housing is it's not very fast. And you need to do a lot of work before you can actually ship the house. So if we have a customer that comes in a year ago interested in doing the project, it's a big financial commitment. It takes them time to decide if they want to do it. They might have to apply for financing. Then we have to go and get building permits. So all that kind of stuff contributes to the timeline. But we've been putting in work for years, or a year or 6 months, depending on the states that we are approved in getting these customers to the point where they can receive the product. And we are signing contracts with them, and things are moving. Someone's asking, they said, I invested last week. When does the process complete? So basically, we have these offerings online where people can invest and buy shares in the company and kind of join the journey. And you'll come in, you'll submit your investment, you'll make a payment. The minimum investment is $1,000. And then, maybe you'll be asked to upload some documents. In some cases, sometimes they don't need the documents, like ID or something like that. And then you'll click sign. And, usually we do a closing like about once a month. So then once you're signed and paid, your investment will kind of be pending. And then I'll go in once a month and countersign everyone's investment. And then you'll get your contract and your investment will be finalized. Someone else is asking about zoning and building code and things like that. So what we're building is a modular house. It's not a manufactured house. So manufactured house is like, the terminology is usually referring to like a mobile home or a double wide trailer home. Those are built to a federal HUD code. So it's kind of a different building code, a different way to build with different rules. And, what we're building is actually modular. So modular means that it's built to the regular residential building code. So the same code as, the house you might live in right now, except that we're doing it in a factory. So it's considered modular. And then we have to kind of go state by state and get approval in most states. And then you end up submitting those plans to the building department. But it's just built to the regular residential building code, the same as most other houses. What we provide is the room module. So the house, the walls, the windows, the kitchen, bathroom, plumbing, electrical, flooring, all of that, the house ready to go. And then on your site, you're going to prepare utilities. So you're going to have a foundation, and it can be most different types of foundations that we can mount our house to. So it can be a slab or piers, different types of things like that. You prepare all that on the ground, and then we come in we deliver the house, and then the contractor will crane the house onto the foundation, mount it to the foundation, connect the utilities. And that side of the process, the actual BOXABL house can happen really quickly in just a day or a couple days. We can have the house off the truck, and all set up, unfolded, and ready to go. And the cool thing is the rules for accessory dwelling units, which is ADU. So the idea for casita was to target these backyard accessory dwelling units, and those rules that allow those are kind of spreading across the country. So California was the first one to go really big with it and kind of legalize putting these backyard houses. And the results are in on that. I believe the statistics I've read are about 20% of new construction in California is backyard ADUs. So that's really big and growing. And, it makes sense. Like if you have a big city like LA where all the land is already built on, but you have all these empty backyards, they're thinking, we open up the backyards to put housing on. And so that, I think Arizona also just passed a casita law as well that's going to be going into effect, I believe, within the next year or so. And it's spreading to other places too. So we do expect that, backyard ADU market to keep growing as well as rolling out our other types of building products as well. Someone's asking, when will our next SEC report be released? I'm not sure exactly, but I think it's pretty soon, probably in the next few weeks is when that one's due. So that'll have all the updated numbers and finances and stuff. Someone's also saying, do you think resistance to your building product will reduce? Yeah, I think that, there's a lot of people interested in fixing housing. There's a lot of, people interested in changing the way things done and opening up, for different possibilities. There's a lot of politicians that run on fixing housing. So there is a lot of reform happening around the country in reducing friction and allowing builders to build. So hopefully we can ride that wave as situation gets better and better. For example, in California, they have a state law that the building departments must approve or deny an ADU building permit within 60 days versus, in the past, it could take, 3, 6, 9 months to get a building permit approved. And there's really no reason for those delays to exist. If people own land, they should be able to build what they want on the land as long as it follows the rules. Someone's also asking about the 2-bedroom casita that we announced on that video and previously on our website. So, when we were looking at what people wanted for the backyard ADUs, a lot of people want a studio casita, but we thought that maybe a lot more people would want a 2-bedroom, especially if you're going to go to all the effort to build the house and get it permitted. Why not throw another box on there and get a 2-bedroom? So right now we're rolling that out for California. So, we've made our dealers aware of it, and they're starting to talk to customers and say, well, what do you want? Do you want a studio casita or do you want a 2-bedroom? So we're really excited about the interest we're getting on that. And, it makes sense for us because if, we have one customer that wants to buy one house, well, we'd rather sell them 2 boxes instead of one. So hopefully that can really boost the sales. Someone's asking about how it works with all 50 states. So in order for us to sell a house in most states, we have to go through a state program where we get reviewed and approved by the state before we can even submit to the building department. So when it comes to our individual onesie backyard ADU customers, we're basically going and getting approval in states one by one. And we're kind of picking the states where we think will get most interest. We picked a bunch of states near the factory in Vegas because, less shipping costs. And then we'll probably go to the higher population states. So, if a state has a bigger population and it's just one approval for that state, we'll get that next. And then if you're looking at a bigger customer, like a developer who wants to do a community of maybe 100 homes, we're welcoming discussions on that basically for the whole country, because for a bigger project, it makes sense for us to go and get the approval just for that project. And then, of course, we'll be able to accept ADU customers on that. But, it's unfortunate that we're not able to just sell in every state day one, but we're kind of grinding through that. And, we have plenty of states now. We have plenty of people. Just California alone is a big enough state to have, a huge business because there's a high population there. Someone's asking about the share split. So yeah, at one point back, more than a couple of years ago, I think we did a share split. It doesn't really have a big impact in anything because if you have, a share split, it doesn't mean that your value doubled. It just means that your number of shares doubled and your value is the same, if that makes sense. Someone's asking where they would see their shares after they buy them. So basically we have a transfer agent. The transfer agent holds the record of, who owns all the shares. So basically, after we close on your investment, maybe like a month or two later, we'll update the cap table. So we update it, every month or two. And then you can go in there and see your shares. But, as long as you have your signed contract, that is your shares and you do own them. Someone's asking about, is there anything they can do to help to get local and state governments on board? Yeah, absolutely there is. The more people bringing this up and talking about it and bringing awareness, that really helps us, especially because sometimes we get, a politician or a government person who really wants to help us, and they can really help push things across the finish line. So, if you are interested in our product and you do want to talk to your building department about it, or your local politician, or you see a need for housing somewhere, or a project or a government project that they're trying to do, and you want to go to them and say, hey, check out BOXABL. This might be a better solution for you guys to deploy housing faster. We would really appreciate that. And my inbox is always open. You can always email us, hello@BOXABL, with any projects or ideas. Someone's asking about coming for tours. So we're absolutely open for tours, during regular business hours. You can schedule it online or you can just show up. We have kind of full-time tour guides, showing people around. And also after business hours, We do have a casita out front that's open 24/7. So if you just happen to be kind of driving by in Vegas, you can just stop by and take a peek in there. Another person's asking about how it works with the houses being inspected. So with most building construction, you're going to have your local building department out on your job site at multiple times during the construction. They might come out once the foundation's done to inspect that. They might come out once the framing is done to inspect that. They might come out when the electric's done to inspect that. And that kind of, holds up and delays the process, because then you have to work on their schedule and they might not have the bandwidth to be there next day as soon as you're ready. So the cool thing about factory house production is that most of those inspections actually happen in our factory. So our units are already inspected by a third party. So that means the building department is not going to come to your site to inspect electric. They're not going to come to inspect framing, because that's already done in our factory. Someone's asking about what the different states that we're planning to get approved in next. I'm not sure I can answer that because it's not public info yet, but as soon as we are approved, we'll put out a press release on that. Another person's asking about scheduling calls with our investor relations department. Because we have so much traffic and so much interest right now in the investments, we are getting kind of overbooked more than we can handle. I guess it's not the worst problem to have, but so you can try to schedule a call, but it might be a little far out that we get you in. The best thing to do is just send us an email, because we can reply to emails quickly. So we're good to do those. Someone else is asking how things went on the Joe Rogan podcast that someone brought us up. That was actually Rick Caruso that mentioned us on the Rogan podcast, and we're very grateful to him for his interest in us and for bringing us up. He had run for mayor of LA, and we were really hoping he would get in because he had really big plans to fix housing, and he's a real estate developer, so he gets it and he understands the issues. So hopefully we'll be able to do something with him at some point. Someone is asking here, what do you mean when you say reduce housing costs? So of course the whole vision of the company here, the whole goal is to bring down housing costs in a really big way. There's something like a 5 million housing unit shortage in the US, and there's other issues with housing all around the world. And when you look at the way the houses are built, no wonder, because it's very, difficult and slow and complicated process to build something out on site, out on a job site. But when you do it in a factory, things can be much more efficient and much faster. So, at the core, we believe in the principles of factory mass production, and that they can result in, lower cost, higher quality levels. And when you think about, what we can achieve with like the standardization of design, potentially using automation, assembly line principles, being able to buy in bulk, that brings down costs as well. Being able to use trained laborers versus licensed electricians is good. So like our employee on our factory line is not a licensed electrician because they're not doing custom work. They're just doing kind of the same job over and over. So they're sitting at their station, the house moves into their station. They connect this wire here, connect this wire there, and then it goes to the next station. So you can really reduce, the downtime when you're doing things on an assembly line versus a guy, walking around the house, figuring out what to do next. There's a lot of wasted time in there that you can eliminate with the assembly line. And I believe the biggest savings you get are just with assembly line and not even necessarily automation. But we're definitely, seeing all the numbers on the cost to produce the house and, labor hours and our different engineering that we're doing to tweak things here and there. And we think that's all moving in the right direction. Another person's asking about the timeline for a 1 or a 2 bedroom. So we've just kind of done a soft launch of this to our dealers so that when they're meeting with people, they can say, hey, do you want a studio or do you want, a 2 bedroom? And we're seeing really big interest in that. So we're planning to really push to get that kind of approved quickly. I can't give an exact timeline, but I think it's, all within reason that makes sense, that hopefully we can get people signed on to that now. It's not anything more significant as far as the timeline than doing a traditional site construction. Another question says, has BOXABL approached the Trump administration regarding rebuilding North Carolina? So whenever I talk about, politics, people get mad, but most of the time I steer clear of politics unless it's relevant to the business. So whether it was the Biden administration or the Trump administration, I'd be talking about things that relate to housing there. And I know, they're making a big push to reform a lot of these rules and fix housing. So we're trying to have our say in that. We've announced what we're calling ABC, American Building Code, which is effectively our wish list of the things that can be fixed in the process to regulate housing that can enable more housing to be built. So hopefully we'll see some movement on there. And whether it's, North Carolina or disaster relief or FEMA, we're always here, with the houses ready to go, and we can, move quickly if we get interest in from government in us helping us solve things. And, I'll also mention that we do have houses ready to go in stock. So if you want to order a house, things can move pretty quickly for you. We do have a really big list of interest, but there's a difference in, people entering their name on a form on the website and then actually committing to the house. So, that process takes time. And at the moment, we do have inventory in stock, able to move quickly if the customer can move quickly. Can a deck be added, or solar panels, battery? Yeah, you can add all that kind of stuff. What we're offering is kind of this architecturally neutral, universal building box that gets a lot of the heavy lifting done for the builder or developer, so that then they can take our product and go in and customize it. They can add different roof pitches, different decks. They can add solar, pretty much anything you want. You can go ahead and modify the house. And the local contractor that you would hire would be responsible for doing that. BOXABL would be responsible just for putting out the room module. Is BOXABL product experiencing all the building regulations in LA has put in place? The regulations are tricky. They're different everywhere. They're very complicated, but one cool thing about California is they've made a huge amount of effort to fix these things. So they've passed a bunch of different laws, including allowing subdivision of lots, mandating that the cities approve permits faster, reducing setbacks. Some cities and states have kind of pre-approved plans for, it's possible that our units could be pre-approved. So when you go into the building department, they're already aware of it, and that kind of speeds things up. And all those rules and laws that they're creating, they really are having an effect. What we see is, I expected California to be one of the more difficult states because they have a very big government there. But what turned out to happening is our experience was they were a very friendly state, and we were able to get things done quickly there. We were able to get our approvals there. They even qualified us for reduced inspections. So in most states, every house that we build needs to be inspected by an inspector, but that doesn't necessarily make sense for a factory product. Like you can imagine on the iPhone factory, if the government was coming in and inspecting every iPhone that they made, that would obviously slow down the process and make things more difficult. But in California, they've allowed us to do reduced inspections. So now they don't inspect every house we built. They inspect, I don't know what the number is, like every 1 in 10 or every other, some type of reduced inspections. So that was great. And they also told us we were the first company to ever actually get approved for that. So it was great. And I think it says a lot about, how we're building, the quality of our build, because, they wouldn't give us that if we weren't doing a good job. Will you be opening up factories in other parts of the world? So we do have very big grand plans to go crazy with this thing. And we do think our solution is a fit for the whole world, where there's housing issues everywhere. And if we think that if we can make it work here in the US, we can copy that formula overseas. We do have a form on our website where people come in and they indicate interest in that. So once we're ready, we're not ready yet, we'll be reaching back out to them to try and do deals overseas. Can you give us more details about American Building Code? So the idea there is that we're intimately aware of all the different issues that slow down housing and all the different ways the government blocks people from building housing. And it's not a BOXABL issue. It's an issue for every builder. We talk to some of the biggest builders in the country, and they complain to us about all the different rules and regulations that slows things down. And a lot of it, doesn't make sense, and it's redundant. So we basically have a list of fixes to all of those. Like, for example, right now, the building code is thousands of pages. It goes into very specific things that you need to do to build your house. So they're basically, the government is saying, you want to build a product and sell it to people, well, you have to do it exactly in this way. So, one of our ideas is let's fix that building code. Let's rewrite it. Let's base it all around safety and calculations. And instead of telling people how to build the house, like how many pieces of wood to use, we'll tell them only you have to make the house this safe, whether it's wind or fire or whatever. There's also other suggestions in there, like, adopting some of the things that California's done, for example, requiring that building departments have to reply to your building permit within a certain amount of time. Because in some situations, we have building permits sitting for 6 months. And I just think that's unacceptable, because the building department's job, they're not necessarily an engineer or an architect. They're just going into your application and checking the boxes and saying, did a licensed engineer sign off on this? Did it, an architect sign off on this, or whatever it is? So there's no reason for them to take that long to approve things. The ABC initiative is we're trying to write this wish list of fixes to improve the process. And then we're trying to get other big companies that are related to housing to sign on to it, so that they're saying, hey, it's not just BOXABL, we like this too. And we think these are the solutions too, because the government administration who's trying to fix housing, they might not know, what exactly the problem is and what needs to be fixed. So we know all that. And we just wanted to get, our wish list onto their desk and say, hey, if you really want to fix things, these are what can be done. So my big one is, I believe that, we should have one building code for the whole country, which is totally doable. We kind of do have one building code for the whole country now, except that different states are using different editions. So one state might be using the 2012 edition, one state might be doing the 2018 edition. And then also, I think, there should be one approval for the whole country, so that instead of going state by state and repeating the same process and the same submissions and the same questions, we should just do it all at once. So, stuff like that, it just makes sense, and it's common sense. So if you want to be a dealer, so basically, our website has a list of not just contractors and dealers, but other types of services like, financing or architects. So anyone can go on the website and list their information there and then get in front of BOXABL customers. So obviously we have, a lot of people aware of the company. We have a lot of leads that come in every day. We have 100,000 plus people that have submitted interest in buying the product. So if you put your company on our website, hopefully you would end up getting customers that would come and call you and buy your service. And if you want to be a dealer, basically you have to be a licensed contractor who's legally allowed to build a house. And you come into our website, you come in, you sign in, you put in your business information, you go through our training program, and then boom, you're online and you will get access to leads. So if you're a contractor in California, and then someone comes in and wants to buy a casita in California, that'll pop up on your webpage on the BOXABL site, and you'll be able to reach out to them and give them a bid on the install costs. When a change is made to the design, how lengthy is the re-review process in California? So in California, it's pretty good, because the way they're doing it is they pick a third party who's like an approved third party, and that guy is in charge of telling the government, yes, this is good to go. So we find, a really good third party that we have now, and, we work closely with him. He's very aware of, everything we're doing, and, he can make quick decisions to approve us. But then some other states will require that the government employees actually make those decisions. That's where things kind of slow down a little bit. But California, it's quick. I was actually just talking to our inspector there before this call, and asking him how long it would take to approve a new unit. He said he can get his part of the work done in, about 2 weeks. So that's great. That's faster timeline than we need, because of course, all the other work that needs to go into it. What are the requirements for dealers, developers? Developer or builder, most of the time that's just a customer that wants to buy our product. So, we're happy to sell it to them. And then for the dealers, most cases, they're going to be a general contractor who's licensed to do, construction type of work for the customer. Do we have a closet? So for the casita, we have kind of like a piece of furniture that goes in between the couch and the bed, and that acts as a closet. And then for the bigger units where you have more space, we actually have closets. So like the unit I walked through in the video, you could see in the bedrooms, in each bedroom, there's a big closet in there. Yeah, someone's mentioning the Massachusetts law where they've kind of legalized ADUs. We're aware of that one, so that's on our radar, and we're hoping that there's a big ADU market there. So that's definitely on our plans to get approved there. What are the biggest states for us? So I think for like individual customers for ADUs, we're seeing huge interest in California. I think they're doing the most ADUs out of any state, so that's great. And we're definitely putting a lot of focus on California because we see that they have a friendly government. They're allowing the houses. They've passed a lot of laws to legalize them. The state has a big population, and that's one of the reasons this new 2-bedroom model, 2-box model, we're just rolling it out with kind of a soft launch just in California first. And if it goes well there, we'll roll that out into other states. Someone's asking, can I add additional funds to my investment? Yeah, you can just go back in and submit a new investment and buy new shares. And we do have kind of a discount schedule where if you invest a higher amount, you get a bigger discount on your shares. So I believe the way it works is if you increase your investment, you would end up getting more bonus shares. Is it safe to assume that BOXABL is impacted by supply shortages? Well, when we started the company, we immediately got hit with COVID and obviously like record-breaking logistics issues and supply shortages, and that was a real struggle. It was crazy. There was certain stuff we just couldn't get. We were calling everyone under the sun to get that stuff, and we made it through. It was a battle, and we managed to deliver that first order where we had over 150 houses ordered by the military, and we got that built and delivered. But we learned a lot of lessons about how to keep things safe in the event of, some unforeseen circumstances like a pandemic. So we got smart to that. And now we're much more careful to make sure we have all the products we need available and we have backup plans if things don't go according to plan. Another question about, do BOXABLs require foundations? So we have 2 models. One model is the regular house, but it's on wheels. So technically it's an RV. It's what I showed you in that other, the video previously at that RV park project. So in that case, you don't need a foundation because it just stays on the wheels. And practically, you don't need a foundation at all. If you put one of these houses down somewhere, it's probably going to be fine. But if you're doing a residential building code and getting it permitted, then you do need a foundation by code. So that would be like a slab or, whatever's the appropriate foundation for the type of soil you have. And then our unit just kind of anchors to that. Do you have a prototype for apartment buildings? So the phase 2 products prototypes that we built is basically a bigger casita. So it's instead of a 20 feet, it's a 40 feet, and it's a 2-bedroom. And then we have a townhouse, which is kind of a kitchen living room on the ground floor and then bedrooms on the top floor. And for an apartment, it would be mostly the same. You just take those different boxes and arrange them in the configuration that works for you. Are the houses hurricane resistant? So they do have a wind rating up to a certain, wind load. I believe that qualifies in Florida, if not all of Florida, most parts of Florida. And then there's other things you can do to increase the wind requirements on site. So you basically, if you're going somewhere crazy, like, we deployed houses in Cuba, we've had people asking about Bahamas, Hawaii, you can add in kind of reinforcements to beef up the wind ratings. But overall, our houses, we try and exceed all the codes because we're building one house that we want to be a standard house to work for the whole country. So, even though we don't have high winds in, Southern California, our house that goes in Southern California would still have the same wind rating as the one that would go in Florida. So that's pretty cool that we're able to kind of exceed all the requirements to create a universal product. Someone's asking about saying that they produce houses with light gauge steel. And that's interesting because for our phase 2 products, we've actually switched a lot of the building technology and we've opted to use a light gauge steel frame. For a number of reasons, we think it gives us a benefit. Overall, we believe that the costs are going to go down from the way we're currently building. It also gives us kind of more, customizability. So with our casita, it's a standard fixed product that we mass produce. But with the phase 2 stuff, we can do more customization. So, for example, the houses you saw in there in the video were pink. That's the installation, and then we can put on different cladding. So if the customer wants different cladding, or other different customizations, we can do that pretty seamlessly. The other thing about it too is by using the light gauge steel, it's something that the building departments can understand because we're not using kind of a new building technology. There's a lot of new stuff to it if you get into the details, but overall what they see is, oh, this is light gauge steel. We understand this. We can sign off on it. We're not going to come back and ask a lot of questions that slow down the process. So that was another one of the reasons for going to the light gauge steel, is we think it's something that will get us through the approvals faster. Someone's asking what kind of warranty we have on the houses. So we have the 1 year manufacturer's warranty and then an option for a 7-year extended warranty. Are the units self-sustainable or off the grid? Certainly, we produce the room module, and then you can connect that to whatever utilities are appropriate for your project. So you can connect that to the grid, to the power, or you can connect it to solar and batteries, just depending on the project that you want to do. Our baby box model, since that's more of like a self-contained, rapidly deployable unit, that's an RV, that one actually comes with a battery on it. It doesn't last for a really long time, but it's enough to get you lights on and turned on and kind of using it. How are the units connected to a foundation? So we basically just have plates that you bolt on, and those bolt to the foundation, and that's all good, and that meets building code. Someone's saying, are you presenting to municipalities? Yeah, all the time. We're meeting with different government people to show them our product, see if there's a fit for any of the projects they're doing, get them comfortable with it, trying to get them to the factory to tour it, to understand that it's a really good vibe and feel when you're inside of it. How do you connect to sewage? So electrical, waste, and water, that all just kind of plugs into the back wall of the unit on the exterior there. Someone said, with the cost of property, infrastructure, et cetera, is BOXABL really affordable? I think, the product we've delivered is, one of the most affordable ones in the market. If you Google, ADUs, you get some cost estimates from some of the other big players in the space. Most of them are very expensive, surprisingly expensive. As far as like our unit, it's $60,000 for the casita, and then you have different site install costs. So depending on what your site is like and what customizations you want to make, there are of course more costs to get the building permit, to install the foundation, all that kind of stuff. And I think if you look at it from the perspective of what's the total cost to install this unit, and then I get a mortgage on it, and then I want to rent it out and try and make profit as like a real estate investment. I think in most cases the numbers crunch there, and I just do believe in their principles that by building in the factory with all these different efficiencies, that we're going to end up as a lower cost than site construction. And of course, that's the mission, and that's what we have to achieve for it to work. Someone's asking about tours. Can they invest after the deadline? If we announced any deadlines on investing, the investment would be most likely closed after that date. Can't say whether we'd reopen in the future or not. If the tours are booked, you could try, emailing us, asking if we can fit you in, or if you're already in Vegas, you can just show up. Most of the time, we're able to accommodate bigger, more tours than we have on the list. Usually, we'll drive people around in the cart, but if it's a big group, we can just walk through. What weather conditions have these been tested in? Well, interestingly, our first project went to Cuba. So Cuba is like an island with hurricane storms, salt spray from the ocean, high humidity, high wind. So pretty much one of the craziest, weather conditions on the planet that you can deploy a house in, and those houses are good to go down there. So I think our houses are great. They meet building code, and they have no problem handling the different weather. Another person's asking, can I invest? So yeah, what we're doing is we're selling shares in the company. So you can become a shareholder, and you can do that by going to our website, and you can invest minimum $1,000, and lots of information on the website there. Read the offering circular. We are closing the investment opportunity on Start Engine in just a few days on the 29th. So try and get in before then. Are these homes suitable for colder weather? Yep, they're good for cold weather, hot weather. The air conditioning units are gonna work either way. They're very well insulated. How do you get cost-effective transportation to the East Coast? So that goes back to kind of one of the fundamental ideas, innovations behind the company, and that's that the houses fold up. So most factory built houses, buildings are big. That's why they're not built in a factory. That's why they're built on site, because they don't fit on the road. So most other factory built housing companies, when they ship a module that's like one room as part of their house, they'll ship a wide load. So it's very big and it requires special shipping permits, and it often requires a follow car. So you have the truck with the house on it that's shipping the load, and then you'll have another car or even two following behind it with flags on it, I guess, to make sure they don't crash into a bridge or something, or take a wrong turn. And those regulations result in high shipping costs for most factory built housing. But for us, our idea was, let's fix the shipping problem, and that opens up a bigger shipping radius so that we can ship cost effectively, because our house folds up and doesn't require the flag cars, and then that enables mass production. So because we can ship farther, we can have a bigger factory and get more efficiencies. That's kind of the thought process behind that. So we could, with the casita, we can also put two on a truck. That first project I mentioned for Cuba, that got trucked from Vegas to Florida and then got put on a barge and taken to Cuba. So even with all that shipping and transportation, the project still made sense for them. Any update on sending casitas to California to the people who lost their homes in the fires? Well, we're trying. We're out there. We're talking to people. What I would like to see happen is to immediately get casitas deployed after the sites are cleaned up as an ADU, and then the people can go and live in the ADU while their main house is being rebuilt, and then there'll be less kind of disruption to their lives because they can stay at their home site. So hopefully we'll get something going through with something like that. Can they be made with compost toilets? Our units are just kind of standardized off the factory, so a lot of stuff like that is already done. But you can certainly, swap out your toilet or swap out other things or add different, claddings or things like that. Someone's asking about calling in for help with the investment. We're getting just a huge amount of traffic on the investment stuff, especially with some of the announcement we've had. So, it may take us a minute to call you back. I would recommend sending an email, because we're able to respond to emails quicker and get you the answers you need. Someone asked, is Elon Musk affiliated with BOXABL? I know there's a lot of rumors and stuff about that. The truth of it is that he was, I believe our first customer. He bought one of the initial prototype units we used. We deployed it in Texas at SpaceX, where he lives there. And that's it. He doesn't, own the company or anything like that. Are we approved in Florida? Nope, not in Florida yet, but that's definitely one we're interested in, because there's a lot of people that live there. We do have a list of states we're approved on in our frequently asked questions section on our website. The colors of the RV park, those were just kind of picked by someone, I think maybe the owner of the RV park. So you can just paint them any color you want. Easy. What is the lifetime for a BOXABL unit? Just, no different than traditional construction. We expect it to last as long or longer than a regular building. Is the trailer platform on only half of the casita? So because the unit folds up for shipping, the full bottom of the unit is supported by the trailer. So that's 8 feet wide. And then the once it's deployed, the wall, the floor, the big floor that folds down, that doesn't have a trailer under it. It just has feet or bricks that hold it up into place. Do we have contractors in Texas? Not yet, because we're not approved in Texas just yet. So as soon as we do, we'll open up the list. We have people, even for states that we're not approved in yet, we have people submitting for adding to the directory, so that the day we go live in a state, we'll already have hopefully some contractors, some different services on the website there. Someone said, is the phone app still active? I was thinking of buying some shares. So if you're going to buy shares, you just go to boxable.com/invest. The phone app we decided to discontinue for now, but hopefully we can relaunch it in the future. Do we coordinate with the local general contractor to install the units? Yeah, so the contractor is going to get all that figured out. They're going to get your permits. They're going to prepare your foundation, and then they're going to coordinate with us when they want the unit delivered. As far as the date for phase 2 and Baby Box, what we're trying to do there is, get deals signed up with bigger customers who want to do communities or place bigger orders, and that will kind of jumpstart the initial construction. So, we don't want to build units without a project ready for them to go to. We're hoping to lock in a project, get that initial production started, and then go from there. Someone's asking what the share price is. So the share price is 80 cents. Can an investor purchase the casita themselves and create their own community? Yeah, absolutely. We welcome, any customers. In most cases, they're going to want to go through a dealer, contractor, unless they're familiar with the process of building and permitting and all that, just to help have someone walk them through it. How many employees do we have? Over 100 employees. I'm not sure the exact number. What efforts are being made to expand into more states? I touched on that before, but basically we're going one by one, trying to pick the states where we think the most demand will come from. And then if it's a bigger project, we will go and get the approval for that state, for that project. So, for larger developers or larger projects, we're ready to discuss sales in all 50 states. And then for individual one unit orders, we have a list of states in the FAQ where we're approved for. Any plans to provide a truly end-to-end experience? Yeah, that's definitely part of the plan. And I think, when we get there, things get much more efficient and we can reduce costs more. Right now, the idea is, there's so much, work that needs to be done and kind of specific local stuff that we decided to go with the contractor network because they're used to handling their local government and their local conditions. But in the future, I would like for the company to get the contractor license, all over the country so that when someone buys a casita, they're only dealing with us and we can have a more seamless experience for them. Do we have financing? Yeah, there's financing options available. You can either use whatever different bank you have or whatever third-party financing you want, or we have some companies that we're working with. There's a list of them on our website. Also, your dealer can help you get set up with financing as well, because a lot of the financing that we have that needs to go through the dealers. Are the dealers fully vetted? So when a dealer signs up, we check to make sure they're a legitimate business. We check their Google reviews. We make sure they have the license. So they're all state licensed and bonded. So part of the application process is that they submit their license information to us so we can make sure they're legit. From order to delivery, how long does it usually take? So we do have houses in stock. If you ordered one today, I can ship it tomorrow. However, there's certain stuff that has to happen for your project. Like you might need financing. So to get a loan from a bank, like a home equity loan or a specific ADU loan, that can take, 1, 2, 4 weeks. Then we need to schedule contractors to come and set up a foundation, do utilities. That can happen pretty quickly and within a couple of weeks, just depending on their schedule. And then the big unknown is really the building department. So sometimes the building department can approve a permit, in 2 weeks, and sometimes they take 6 months. So that's just the case for all different types of building construction. So, it's a little bit of an unknown, but I think overall doing it the BOXABL way is going to be the faster way because we can skip the actual construction. So a regular house, you're going to be building it from scratch, guy with hammer and nails and pieces of wood, hammering it together and doing the sheetrock, doing the electric, all that happens in our factory before it lands on your site. So I think BOXABL is one of the fastest options out there to build for an ADU. Can casitas stack? Yeah, so all our different room modules can stack up to a certain height. There's a project on Instagram, like one of the last few posts, where you can see, I think it was 12 units. Each one's 2 stories high. Each one's an individual casita with a staircase going up to it. So that's an example where we stacked casitas. And then, our phase 2 products are planned to be multi-story. So like a single family or a townhouse that's a multi-story. How about selling in Costco or Home Depot? We've definitely explored this, and it may be possible in the future. It's a little complicated because you need certain licenses, like dealer licenses or whatever, in different states. So for now, I think we're good to just keep the sales kind of going through our website instead of going through a third party. But maybe if we release certain other types of products like Baby Box, maybe that could be a fit for Home Depot. Can I put a casita on a leased land or RV land? Yeah, I think for like RV parks, the business model there is they'll lease you the space and then you'll deploy your RV there. So if you got, a park model RV casita, you can deploy it out onto a RV space that you've leased. Would probably recommend that it be like a longer term lease because there's a cost associated with deploying it and setting it up, and you wouldn't want to just be there for a few months. Is phase 2 built with 2x6 construction? Phase 2, like I mentioned before, is done with light gauge steel. So it's light gauge steel framing. We really like the light gauge steel for a number of reasons, like the precision you can get with it in the factory, the structural strength, bunch of different reasons why we like that. How many volts for an extension cord can you put on the Baby Box? So we actually plugged it in with just a regular 20 amp extension cord, and it ran off that. And but I think the actual power requirement is a 30 amp plug. So you can easily get one of those connected to the Baby Box. Do you think having different touring sites in different states will help increase? Yeah. So we have a deal. We have a program with our dealers where I believe we finance them a casita so they can deploy it, in their local area, and then they can have a showcase to have customers come and check it out without coming to Vegas. Someone's asking here about the focus of the company and production. So certainly we are focused on casita. That's the product that we're manufacturing and selling, and we continue to push forward on that, get state approvals on that, sign deals on projects for that. But as has been stated as the mission all along, we are ready to kind of expand the product into different types of housing, for phase 2 and baby, and really, anything else we come across that we think makes sense to solve housing as far as different products, we'll explore those. How far out do tours need to be requested? So you can go on schedule on our website, or you can actually just show up anytime during business hours, and we'll make time for you. How does the plumbing work on the Baby Box? We're planning to have like a connection where you can plumb in different types of connections. So I want it to have a hose connection, so you can connect a hose to it, as well as like a different hardwired connection, maybe with a valve on it. Just try to make it really easy and compatible with the different things people want to do. Someone again is asking if they can invest again. Yeah, you just go back in, submit a whole new investment, and then you'll add more shares. You can totally do that. Someone says, I have a good sized backyard where I can put 2 casitas in California. Yeah, so just head over to the website, go to the dealer page, call some dealers, ask them questions, submit an order if you're ready. And once you submit the order, that's when you'll schedule a site visit from the dealer, and they're going to come out to your site and take measurements and check out your septic system, or your sewage and your electric, and make sure they figure out what kind of custom stuff you need to get it going. For the HVAC, we use a mini split system. So that's basically it has a box that's like a kind of a condenser on the outside, and then plumbing with refrigerant comes onto the inside, where there's a fan that blows air past the cold refrigerant line. So the mini splits are really nice. Most houses in the US have like a duct system. And I think the mini split is a better solution. I believe it's more energy efficient, and it's easier to clean the filter as well. Will the Baby Box need a foundation? No, because it stays on wheels on the trailer system, so you don't need a foundation. You could secure it to a foundation if you want, maybe if you're in a high wind area. Can we do a live demonstration of the unboxing? No, sorry, not today. But there's lots of videos of that online if you head over to the website. And then dealers actually come in for a live demonstration of the unboxing, so we can train them on how to set it up. The planned price for the 2-bedroom is $110,000 for the room modules. Do we use different materials for warmer climates versus colder climates? No, it's all the same. Potentially with phase 2, you can add on more insulation if you have a more harsh climate, but pretty much whether it's hot or cold, you're just trying to keep the air in the house and keep the energy from transmitting through the wall. So it's kind of the same thing whether you're too hot or too cold. I think we're coming close to the end of the questions. If you have anything I haven't answered already. Someone's asking if we give out exclusive territory for dealers. No, we don't. We want to have kind of competition among dealers to give the best price to the end consumer. So we would not really sell off any territories. Another person's asking if we can do a real-time build, maybe like a time lapse. That's a cool idea. I might ask to set something up like that on one of our next jobs. Do we have a lot of interest internationally? Yeah, we do. We get inquiries from all over the world. Really exciting. I think it resonates that something has to be done to fix housing everywhere because it seems to be an issue everywhere. Are there any big competitors? Well, when I look at factory built housing, 90% of houses are built using traditional site construction. And the only guys that have really been able to make it work are like the mobile home guys. So like a double wide trailer home, you have Cavco, Clayton, Champion, Skyline Homes. Those account for most of the factory built housing. The reason that they've been able to make a sustainable business is that they do have this federal regulation for HUD homes. So on one side, that's, it's not perfect, but it's given them a path forward to sell without having regulations be an issue. But on the other side, there's a lot of limitations and drawbacks to that. Like in most places, you're not allowed to deploy a mobile home like on a regular residential job site. So they kind of have a limited, smaller market because of that. But they're the guys, doing it. You don't see too many other companies that are really doing great with factory built housing. Hopefully with all our, innovations and our take on it, we can end up ahead. Someone's saying the cost to build an ADU is $350 per square feet average in California. Yeah, it sounds about right. I mean, this stuff is not cheap. And, I believe BOXABL can come in far underneath that price. The other thing too about like a cost per square foot number is a smaller house has a higher per square foot cost because a lot of the things are fixed. So whether you have a 2,000 square foot house or a 100 square foot house, you're still just going to have probably one kitchen. So that's one kitchen divided by 2,000 square feet or divided by 100 square feet. So your cost per square foot goes down on the bigger units. So if you're looking at a cost per square foot number, it's not always comparing. What happened with the BOXABL government contract? Were they fulfilled? Yeah, we years ago we completed that first order. It was pretty crazy actually. So it was me and Paolo and a few other guys with just a few prototypes that we had built. And the military came in and gave us a big contract for 150 homes. So we took that contract. We went, leased a big warehouse building, ordered equipment, hired employees, got up and running, figured everything out. And it was pretty cool how we were able to deliver on the vision because, it was not an easy task to go from zero to a big factory delivering houses. And yeah, we were able to, complete and deliver that contract in full. What was your dream career growing up? I'm sure it wasn't to fix housing. I think, for me, I've always just, enjoyed, starting businesses, finding, a need in the market, an angle, and then diving in and becoming obsessed with it and learning everything about it and kind of, refining the business from there. Can BOXABL homes be built in any community or are they limited to trailer parks? Yeah, we can do any type of community. It's not any type, but we can do regular residential building community, or we can do RV park. These are regular homes that meet residential building code. They're not mobile homes. They're not, really trailer park type of homes. Is the third party lawyer named Harvey Specter? No, I don't know who that is. Someone's asking about our affiliate program. So we do have a program where people can promote BOXABL and get paid if their web traffic does certain things. So basically we suggest, grab some of our B-roll footage, sign up, you get a link, and then, you post videos about us and, if you get lucky, maybe a video, goes viral, gets 1 million views. If that web traffic does certain things like, order a house, or other things, you can get paid on that. So you can go to our website and click the affiliate page and sign up for that. So that's just like a fun little thing that people can do. Can I be a dealer in Mexico? Yeah, I think I haven't really looked too much into Mexico. I think that, it's probably easier to get through regulations and build houses there. We're definitely interested in Mexico. We're pretty close to the border. So definitely email us if you're interested in doing projects in Mexico. Are tariffs expected to increase prices? Well, we try and get most of our stuff from the US. We have a pretty high percentage of things that we buy from the US. And hopefully the tariffs are kind of a short-term play. So I don't expect that to have a big impact on pricing, but we'll see how it goes. Someone keeps asking me over and over, where do I see the company in 5 years? And I can't really comment on like future, guesses on things. I have to be really careful with what I say to make sure that we're fair and not misrepresenting anything. And, the company here, we've really leveraged being very transparent, and, it has pros and cons because on one hand, people get to see what we're doing and they get to believe in the vision and they get excited about it. And, we have our SEC filings and our audits and our social media videos. But on the other hand, when you kind of tell people too much, they complain and, want to have their opinion. So it's good. We're going to keep doing it. We try to be very transparent. You're allowed to come to our factory and you can literally stand and watch me in my office working if you want. We are going to send out this video of the webinar afterwards. I know that not only people who might have been late to this video, but a lot of people tried to sign up and weren't allowed to because there was 1,000 sign up cap for some reason. So I'll probably do another one next week or so. All right, we're coming to the end of the questions. Just skipping over a lot of the repeats. Almost done here. Can you do a basement? Yeah, you can do a basement. So our units wouldn't need to be supported from the floor, just like the perimeter, which means, you can put them on something and you can have an open space underneath. Can they handle tornadoes? I don't know. I don't know if anything can handle a tornado. Can you use a credit card to purchase a house? Probably not. Can you choose the fixtures? So for the casita, the fixtures, the appliances, everything is just standard. And by creating a standardized product, we think that we can lower the costs. But in our phase 2, we would kind of customize those buildings for bigger orders for developers if they wanted certain stuff. And I'm sorry, I cannot answer certain types of questions because I don't want to get in trouble. So I'm sorry if I'm skipping your question. But we are heavily regulated because we are a Exchange Act reporting company, and we, have to follow the SEC rules on the way we disseminate information. It has to be done in a fair way. So like if there's something new, I can't talk about it until it's disclosed in a press release or an SEC filing, so everyone gets a fair shot at seeing it at the same time. I was actually thinking about doing a Twitter Spaces next instead of this live storm webinar. So maybe we'll do that. Can we ship to Tijuana, Mexico? Sure, can do that. Email us, hello@BOXABL. Are we looking at using robots or automation? Certainly are. We do have a degree of automation already. We have, the CNC cutting equipment and other different kind of computer controlled equipment. And as we kind of, define our different manufacturing processes and get locked in, we'll consider adding different automation where it's appropriate. What happened to the fun, silly BOXABL videos? Been super busy lately, so haven't had a chance. But if you have any ideas for crazy videos, I'll definitely consider them and get back to them when I have a chance to catch my breath. All right, that's it. So thank you so much, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate your interest in BOXABL. Make sure you subscribe to our emails. Make sure you follow us on social media. We'll be posting updates about everything we do. I will email everyone this video, and we'll schedule another webinar soon. And email us anytime about BOXABL. And if you're interested in investing, the investment offering is closing in the next few days on Start Engine. So, you can head over to our website and learn more about investing, and have a nice day. Thank you. See you in Las Vegas.